just came in from Instacarting. Today is the second day that I've been Instacarting. Okay, yesterday when I did Instacart, I was able to use the card that they gave me, the debit card, and use it as credit with no problem. And so today I went to use it as credit at a different location, and it wouldn't let it go through. So it asked for me to do it as debit. And when I put in the PIN number, I'm thinking like I didn't remember putting in the PIN, but I put in the PIN that I always use on everything else, and it didn't work. I panicked, and it sent me a message giving me a PIN number, but I didn't realize that it had given it to me. So if this happened to you, don't panic. Look down at your screen. They will give you a PIN number. And while I was in the store, I noticed that, on the customer's list, he had two steaks. Well, he had a steak and some ground beef, and it went by the pounds. It said 2 pounds. So when I scanned it, it said that it was point something less of what I wanted to get. So I agreed to take that. I didn't realize that the customer wanted two steaks until I got to his house, and I really didn't know how to do that. I was scanning different packages of steak, and it was saying this pack ain't the right pack, and then the other ones that I scanned, it wouldn't scan at all. So in a situation like this, I would suggest call the customer. That's always the best thing to do, and that's one of the number one rules to do. Call the customer and communicate if you can't come up with something on your own. Okay. And I had an incident today where I went to Aldi's grocery store. I don't know if you're familiar with Aldi's, but it's a store kind of like Save a Lot where you have to pay for the bags. They don't give you the bags. And so when I pushed the order through and everything, and when I got back to my car, I slid the thing over to go and deliver, and it asked me how many bags did I get, and I tried to push zero, and it said I couldn't push zero, so I pressed one, and so in a place where it don't offer bags, just stay and swipe. It probably will tell you what you can do, how much you gotta pay. But anyway, I ended up giving the customer 25 cents because I charged them 10 or 11 cents for the bags. Okay, so just look, pay attention. These are my mistakes. Okay, I ran into yesterday. First, Instacart. Okay, I live in East St. Louis, Illinois. And the order, when I did the order and I was going to deliver the order, it gave me, I'm going to say, for instance, the address that was down there was 12345 South Ohio Avenue, East St. Louis, 63137. Okay, 63137 is a St. Louis, Missouri zip code. But I was set up to Instacart in the East St. Louis, Illinois area. So by the address saying East St. Louis, Illinois, I thought that more than likely the 63137 was a mistake. And because if I'm in the East St. Louis, Illinois zone, I don't supposed to even deliver to St. Louis, Missouri zone. So, which the maps asked me, it gave me two separate addresses. One was for 12345 South Ohio Avenue, East St. Louis, Illinois 62204. That's the one I clicked. And it gave me another address of 12345 South Ohio Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri 63137. I didn't click that one because I wasn't in that zone. So I'm looking for the address. It leads me to the back alley of a house. So I go around and drive to the front of the house, but it's a different address and a different street. So I call the customer. Customer saying, no, I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. So I have to drive over to St. Louis, Missouri. So if you have a discrepancy like that, again, it would be helpful just to call the customer to kind of verify the address. Had I called the customer, I wouldn't have went through all that. I went straight to her address. How do you gain early access hours? That might be a question that a lot of people want to know. That's something that I want to know. And what does early access mean? Early access is when they okay, when you first start, you could get your hours, the wait list hours. And the wait list is like standing in line to Instacart in certain zones. So it's like you're in line when you wait list. So when you first start, the wait list comes out on a Wednesday at 9 a.m. That's the soonest you can get it. But after you get either 25 weekend hours or 90 weekday hours, you gain early access, which means that you can wait list your hours that Sunday morning as soon as Sunday come in, and where you could choose all the hours that you want, what best suits you. You got better chances of doing that. Whereas when you first start, you scraping over hours. You just taking what they give you, and you don't have. I mean, you get a lot of hours. You just have to look. You got to be on there like a crackhead because it's gonna keep popping up. All the hours gonna keep popping up. But you gotta look when you first start. But once you get those 25 weekend hours or your 90 weekday hours, it's like those hours are there. You can and it's best to schedule your Instacart when in peak hours, because that's when you get paid. So if you don't do peak hours, it's slow and you might not get a lot. So it's very important that you do it on peak hours and know your zones. Know what zones are busy, which zones, that don't do a lot. Like big city zones, like big areas like that do well. Now if it's kind of a country type area, it probably don't do as well. Okay. Other issue, the more you can communicate with the customer, is the bigger your potential tip would be. Because like your customer is looking for accuracy. So all they really want you to do is communicate. When you don't communicate, it kind of, you would want somebody to communicate with you, and it could hurt your tip. I got 2 tips that I got deducted from because I made a decision, and I don't think I made the right decision because I guess they wanted me to get something. But one of the orders said it was for some strawberries. Now, all these was out of strawberries. It gave me the options to do blueberries or, I can't remember the other thing, but blueberries. I tried to pick the blueberries, but it was saying it was 3 times as much as what they wanted to pay. So I decided not to get it. Bad decision. It took $2 and something away from my tip. A regular laundry basket, it's good to pack like the groceries all in that laundry basket. It's less trips to take the groceries up to the customer. So it's very helpful to get like a laundry basket. I suggest you to buy your own refrigerated bags. I mean, because it's much cheaper. Instacart, you can order them from them, but it costs more. I mean, but they let me go on my trips before I even got my bags. They had like a little message things. They wanted me to take a picture of my bag, but I didn't have to have my bags to start my Instacart. But the sad part about that is, if customers can let Instacart know that you didn't have any bags. So it's best to go and get you some bags whenever possible. If you're at Instacart and you didn't set up your wait list hours and you got them, say you wait list 2 to 10, and say as soon as you get on, you get an order, say at 4 o'clock, and then you don't get another order till 4:30, 5 o'clock, or however they do it. If they don't give you give you an order in 2 hours, 2 hours, you can end your hours early. You can end your schedule hours early without incident. But if you can't decline it, you can't decline any orders. So if you're sitting up and you notice after 2 hours you ain't getting no orders, you can leave without incident. Other than that, if they're giving you orders and it's just not what you want, you will get an incident. So I think that's all I have for now. And I guess when I run into more problems, I'll let you know. Thanks, and y'all have a great day.